Hi, you guys. I had just recorded a 16-minute video and deleted it, and I'm tired, so I don't know how long this is gonna be, but I'm gonna try to keep it short to the point. So I was watching another Be Something Wonderful video. Shout out to Tom, and he was talking about robotic affirmations, and that's been on my mind a lot lately because I've been feeling frustrated because that's been the way I've been, you know, doing manifestation and bringing things into my reality, my experience, and I've been feeling like I'm hitting a wall and getting stuck. And I was wondering why I always feel so bad when I say my affirmations, even when I know that it's true, even when I see all these success stories of the very same things that I want people living them. It's like I'm creating it in my reality of other people having the experience, but not me. And I'm getting so fed up of all my emotions and my circumstances of living the same things day in and day out with everything that I know. Like, it's just frustrating. So I came across his video and he was talking about how that everything that I was just talking about is basically a sense of separation, and that's why affirming feels bad. And it made sense because when you think about it, everything that I described I was feeling, it does make me feel separate from my desire. It makes me feel like it's impossible. It makes me feel like things aren't happening, and it makes me frustrated, sad, overwhelmed most of the time, very anxious, and some days I feel better than others, but still, after all these years I put in to learning this, and I feel like I have nothing to show for it, it's just like, okay, enough is enough. I need to figure out how to deal with this and actually start living, because it's not a good feeling when you feel like you don't love your life. And even though it wasn't great before manifestation and all those other things, I still feel like, you know how they say ignorance is bliss? It still feels like I was better off sometimes not knowing as much as I know, because I'm not experiencing the things that I want. It's like I'd rather have not known about it, not known about my power and my ability to do stuff, than to know about it and still feel like you're not getting it. Like, it's not a good place to be in. So what I wanted to say is that once I saw his video and he brought that up, that sense of separation, it made me realize, okay, I don't need to really overanalyze all of these things that I'm feeling and make it mean that I'm unworthy, that things aren't working and stuff like that. It really just means that I don't feel connected to the things that I want. And obviously, if you guys are watching this, you probably can relate to it. So he went on to say, like, that's why we think we need repetition, when the repetition is really just to bring our focus more on the things that we want, because you can't have your attention on two different things at once. So you're either focusing on having what you want, or you're focusing on the opposite or the absence of it. And a lot of that is just basically because we weren't really raised to go within and trust our imagination and all of that stuff. We were raised to focus on the 3D. What you see is what you get. It's nothing more than that. So it's the complete opposite of everything that we're taught in the manifestation community. So due to that focus in a 3D reality and being used to that and training our senses to react to what we see versus what we tell ourselves, and that sense of separation, we use affirmations as a way to help us break that focus and put our attention on a different reality that we want to experience. And for some of us, that takes what we perceive as time passing in order for that to happen, when in reality it is instant. It's just that a lot of the times when we start affirming, we immediately shift into the reality. But for the sake of our perception and our sanity and whatever our belief systems are, we shift to realities that look so similar that it looks like nothing's changing. And that's something I struggle with. Like, I understood it conceptually, but then here I am still reacting and doubting and having that sense of separation from what I want, because I assume that nothing's changing, when I should just assume that things are changing whether I can see it or not. And obviously, I would like to manifest faster, significant changes, but sometimes for where we are, it's easier for us to go, a little bit slower and have what we might think as insignificant changes could actually be really big things. Um, because one example, like I was watching this channel, he had hundreds and hundreds of videos about spirituality, breaking down your thoughts, breaking down like emotions and not identifying with them and your ego and all this stuff, and it really brought me through sometimes and gave me some clarity. And then the other day I realized like some channel was posting something and I didn't recognize it, and when I clicked on it, it was that same channel, but everything was gone and they completely switched over to some religious topics or whatever. And for me, I grew up a little bit religious, but it wasn't a way for me to really connect and, feel like I knew what life is all about. So that's how I got into spirituality. But my point was, I had been, trying to create evidence and signs of me shifting reality. And for me, that was evidence of shifting, because it's like I shifted to reality where that channel no longer existed. And now this person is doing other types of videos. And I have nothing against that expression. Other people be like, oh, that's just a coincidence, whatever. But being in the manifestation community, that was evidence that I shifted to reality. It's kind of like, what's those things where you experience things one way and it happened. Sorry, I'm seeing like a spider. I forgot what it's called. It's like how people say there's different things that they remember or whatever. I'm not expressing this in the right way. Like how people say, oh, the Peanut Man didn't have the monocle or whatever, or like the different TV shows. Like people remember different versions of Barney. I know there's a word for it and I can't remember because I'm tired, but y'all know what I mean. Like a lot of us experienced that where it was certain people who did different things, or we shifted into different realities, so we all have a different idea about certain aspects in the reality. So for me, my point was, in that story, I know I shifted because that channel was no longer there and he was doing something completely different. So I took that as evidence of my assumption that things are shifting, even if it wasn't relevant to my manifestations. It was something for me to still have confirmation and believe in it. So I feel like I was just rambling for the last couple minutes, but I hope y'all could follow where I was going with that. But yeah, getting back to the point of the video. So robotic affirmations. It's not that it's supposed to be a chore. It's that if you weren't so divided in your focus and wavering, manifestations would be happening like that. But most of us, we affirm, we go out in reality, get triggered and traumatized, and let our old assumptions be projected out there instead of sticking to what we want. It was never supposed to be a chore. Everything that came out in manifestation was supposed to make things easier, and most of us didn't stick to any one particular thing long enough in order for it to work. We just saw, okay, what's the new trend? Robotic affirming. I'm gonna do that now because that thing didn't work for me. It's like it had nothing to do with the techniques. It had to do with your belief that anything could work for you, or anything could actually change in your life. So it's not about what you do, it's about who you are, who you see yourself as, what you believe about yourself and your capacity to have the experiences that you want. It's at a core level that you don't even have the assumption that you actually do create your reality. And this isn't to be mean to y'all, this is really talking to myself too, because I feel like I still never feel like a creator, and having negative emotions was never supposed to take that power away from you. It's never supposed to be a block to say that, okay, you're doing something wrong as the creator, or as the creator of your reality, because you don't feel good. That doesn't mean anything about your power and your level of control in your own life. And that's something that I've really had to learn to accept and understand. And I'm still working on that, but it's like I'm constantly getting these reminders that my emotions and feelings are not getting in my way of my desires, and I really need to firmly believe that. But the repetition isn't supposed to be something that feels like work or a homework assignment or whatever, it's not because our subconscious needs to be programmed or impressed. It's really just to break your focus from your attention going elsewhere, your attention being on the fact that you don't have what you want. Sorry, there's like a huge spider and I did not want him in my car. Okay, hopefully that got rid of him. But anyways, yeah, the whole point was you say your affirmations to focus in the reality that you want to be in. From the moment that you say your affirmations, you're in that reality. It's not about the external things, it's about where your focus is. This is reality. So your affirmations are reality. It's about believing in your command, your mind, because that's where all your power is. Whatever you say is your truth. And most of us weren't conditioned to believe that. And I talked about that in one of my other videos. Like, we weren't conditioned to believe in what we say in terms of our assumptions, because even when we had our assumptions, they were either downplayed or people told us, well, even if you believe that, this is still what society tells you. This is still what your family tells you is right. So you still got to ignore your own beliefs and do this to get by and survive in society. So that's really an assumption to let go of. But yeah, it's not supposed to be a technique. It was just really, if we weren't so sloppy in our focus and so double-minded, we should be having our manifestations basically instantly. And to summarize, like, it really does feel like when we feel bad about our affirmations, we feel like we aren't that person or that has what we want. We're not in that identity. We don't feel like we're connected to those objects, those people, or whatever it is that we're manifesting. But we don't need to feel a certain way. Like, there was never supposed to be requirements for us to get what we want. Like, feelings didn't matter. They never did. But people take things in this community and they run away with it, and then, you know, they'll say, oh, well, this is the way that you have to manifest. This is the right way. You have to feel it, especially if you never felt it before. Like, they create all these limiting beliefs and project it. So you kind of have to filter all the things that you take in. I would just recommend you sit down and write out your beliefs of how you want things to go and ignore anything else. I would even say stop watching manifestation videos unless you find ones to help you make an outline for your life, and then take a month or two and just practice those assumptions until you've seen things shift enough for you to feel confident and take your own lead, because we really didn't need anybody to tell us how to make our own lives. But you know, enough people stepped up in the role to at least pave the way for us to gain enough belief in the fact that things are possible. But there comes a point where you got to take the reins for your own life, and you can't keep depending on somebody. It just becomes another unhealthy codependent process, and then you'll be blaming those people for why your life isn't changing, when they were just supposed to be another technique to kind of push you into believing yourself, but they can only do so much. So we can't put them on a pedestal and continue to feel like we don't have control. That's basically copping out. The other thing I was going to say is changing reality is instant. It's just difficult for us to perceive at times because we have this relationship with time where we assume that we have to pass through a certain amount of time for things to unfold, and we'll feel like, because we feel bad that our affirmations aren't working instantly, because we didn't see whatever it is appear before our very eyes, that we didn't shift realities. But realities are always shifting. It was never something that we needed to do anything in order for it to happen. It was just the fact that it's shifting so fast, but we have such strong assumptions about what life is and the passage of time, and even just changes in reality and what they actually mean. We never really learned that life is literally shifting realities infinite numbers of times per second if you want a unit of measurement. Like, it's happening that fast. Like, literally as fast as you affirm something, you're in that reality. It's just based on our perception and our beliefs about reality. Things are changing to the similar looking realities. It's like, until you really get that assumption that things manifest fast, you're not going to see something pop up literally out of thin air unless you started affirming for that and it built that up for yourself, like built up that momentum. But like, an example is, I wanted to manifest $2,000, and I was affirming for it for like half a day on and off, and then I kind of stopped because I was like, I don't even feel good. I just don't want to do this no more. I let it go. I think I still felt bad throughout the day, but I didn't do anything else. And then the next morning, someone gave me that amount of money. And to me, even though it wasn't right in front of my face, I still consider that as more instantaneous than other things in the past, because other stuff literally has taken weeks and stuff. But like, that's a perfect example. I had no signs, no evidence, nothing to tell me that that affirmation was true, nothing to give me a sign that I was in the reality where the $2,000 existed, and I wasn't expecting it to come in the way that it did either. So that's kind of how we have to be with things. Like, and it just goes to show, like, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like it worked. I feel like I was still doubting and stuff. But literally the next day when I woke up, it's the first thing that happened. So you really have to be loose about your expectations about how things come to you, and loosen up on how much pressure you put on yourself to feel a certain way. Feelings are not required. Obviously, you want to get to a place where you manifest in a peaceful, happy state, but on the way to that, you don't have to beat yourself up about how that looks. You get to be as miserable as you want. You could be crying, bawling like a baby, and things still be working out for you. Like, I also was affirming for someone to be thinking of me, and literally days later when I saw them, they told me they were thinking of me. So it's just like, I've been practicing different random things, and it's been happening, even though some of the other stuff I wanted, I didn't see any evidence of it yet. Those are just assumptions that I have to let go of. Or maybe you could affirm, like, I don't need to see any evidence to know what I want is happening. Like, obviously that's kind of long, but you get what I'm saying. But you could just make it like a blanket affirmation: I always get what I want no matter what. And that kind of encompasses everything that you want. And you'll start seeing things coming in like an avalanche. But yeah, robotic affirmations, they do work. You might just need to affirm that affirmations work for you before you start doing them. Or just remember, like I said, any negative feeling you have that comes up when you're affirming is just you translating a feeling of being separate from the thing that you want. And what you have to understand is that separation is impossible. Like, the fact that we are manifesting this sense of separation shows that you're not separate. It shows that you're connected. Because if you think about it, you feel this sense of separation from the thing that you want, right? And that's the only reason that it's not manifesting. That sense of separation can be doubt, fear, whatever you believe is an obstacle right now, and you're placing that power on that thing. You're using your creative power to create the illusion of separation from the things that you want. But if you remembered who you were and you decided there is no separation, which there can't be, it's impossible, the reality is just projecting your assumptions. Change your assumption. There's no separation. There's never been separation. I've always been connected. Because then what do you think's gonna be reflected? You'll be in more control over the things that you want, and you're gonna see the fact that since there can never be no separation, that gives you the power to change anything in your life. So even this idea that you're not connected to the things that you want, as soon as you start putting your affirmations on, I always get what I want, or I am connected to everything, everything is me pushed out, and you start moving that around, you're going to start seeing things conform to what you want, because everything is always conforming. It's just where's your focus going, and this is what's being translated. So I don't want this video to get any longer because I feel like I'm getting kind of repetitive, and I'm kind of tired too. I promise I'll do better with looking into the camera. I did want to do eye contact to be respectful, but I'm kind of just off in my thoughts, and that's just how I am. But hopefully this helps somebody gain some clarity about affirmations. You can't do it wrong. If you have the assumption that you never do anything wrong, it won't even matter how it looks like you messed up. Everything will have to work itself out so that you didn't mess it up. But just know separation is impossible, which is why we're able to create negative things and positive things. It's just really our assumptions about life is what's going to determine what we actually experience. So, yeah, I hope this helps somebody. I know I needed to do this at least for myself, and I'm going to see what other videos I come up with for the week because I'm trying to be more consistent while things are picking up. But I just want to say thank you for the recent subscribers. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. If you have any other manifestation friends, definitely share the channel, share the video. I want to build a community where we can empower each other, create a positive reality, a peaceful reality, just an abundant one. And I don't know how big I want this to get, but I don't want it to be too stressful. So I'm just going to put it out there that I definitely want to manifest at least 1,000 subscribers, before the summer is over. I feel like it could happen way before that, but I'm kind of just going to take my time with it and not put so much pressure checking the 3D either. But we definitely grew this week, so I'm kind of happy to see the manifesting, starting to build momentum. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what else I could talk to you guys about and, just enlighten and share my experiences. But if you guys have anything that you want to hear more about, I'll be glad to take recommendations on topics and stuff too. And you can hear my point of view of it. And we just get a little discussion going. But, yeah, I think this is where I'm going to end the video. I hope you guys have a good night, good morning, whenever you see this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.